What's going on, Colonel fans, friends, and family? Welcome back to another week of the Maroon Momentum Show. I am your host, Jonathan Duff, on this victorious Wednesday. Yes, it is a victorious Wednesday, coming off a win before the bye week, so we still celebrate another week as fans, obviously not as players. But looking forward to a loaded show with you today. I hope everyone got some well-needed rests and chores around the house over the bye week, and I also hope that you reviewed your insurance needs. And I hope that you settled that you're going to go walk into John Clark State Farm this week and go give John a shot, because he is undoubtedly a trustworthy and great businessman, and he'll take care of your insurance needs. We all have them. We may not want to address them, but we all need them. And there's no doubt that you can count on Clark. So with that said, I'm excited. Obviously, there's a big week this week at home against Austin Peay, number 15 in the country. I know that Coach Wells was out in the media this week, encouraging everyone to come out to the game. It's a UK bye week, so hopefully we see a record-setting crowd there. It would be very nice to see Roy Kidd Stadium packed out at 6 p.m. this Saturday. Like I said, number 15 ranked Austin Peay. So a little bit of a rivalry there. They've had a pretty impressive season. They're 4-2 right now, sitting at 2-1 in the conference, and coming off an impressive 2-score victory against West Georgia, who obviously we had some struggles against earlier on in the year, and who is a really good football team. Austin Peay's only losses are to Abilene Christian, and they lost to Georgia at Georgia 28-6. So pretty impressive showing for them as well in that game. But it was a game that was filled with some sudden changes. They had a big weather delay in the middle of that game that broke up the rhythm on both sides. But still, they made Georgia fight for every yard, multiple 10-play drives on their scoring drives. So really an impressive showing. I'm super interested to see this quarterback on Saturday for Austin Peay. His name is Chris Parson. He started the year off. He threw for 142 yards, 151, and 199. And then all of a sudden they realized that they're an air raid team, and he went for 330, 204, and 346 last game. So the offense has been rolling. The passing attack has been rolling. And interesting enough, there's been a huge impact of these three running backs that Austin Peay uses, not only in the run game, but the pass game. They have a guy on the depth chart who is an interesting story, to say the least. All of my research here says that he's a defensive back, and he's listed as a defensive back on the depth chart. Yet he has 3 tackles this year, 198 rushing yards, 93 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns. His name is Javius Bond. So that'll be a good matchup. Seems like a good all-around athlete. And the only other thing is that in conference play this year, obviously, EKU's only played 1 game in conference play. Austin Peay's played 3, so naturally. But they have given up the most points. West Georgia scored in the 30s on them, and Abilene Christian scored 45 on them. So definitely would love to see the offense get rolling this week and put up some points, see a big offensive display on Saturday against Austin Peay. I know everyone's been excited and ready to see the offense get rolling. We saw a glimpse of it 2 Saturdays ago against Nicholls State, thanks to a big help from the running game with Braden Latham and Brady Hensley getting his career long in rushing yards, 148 rushing yards on 14 carries and a touchdown. I'm very grateful to get to speak to him today, and I'm going to go ahead and bring on the sophomore superstar coming off his big game, Brady Hensley.
What's up, man?
Brady, how are you?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm good. So you're coming off a bye week. How's the body feel right now?
Pretty good. We only practiced 3 days last week. We did a lot of good periods, and we also did some scout periods where we went against Abilene's, their looks that we've seen on film and some stuff like that. But yeah, I'm feeling good. Got a 3-day weekend coming off that. Got a little practice in this week, so I'm not feeling too bad.
How important, what does taking advantage of the bye week look like to you? Is it rest, or is it preparation for the next game? Is it a mix of both? I know you just highlighted it a bit, but what does winning the bye week mean to a team?
For us, it was really just honing in on some of the details offensively last week, trying to fix some of the things that we didn't do good against Nicholls, and then Individually, it's just working on my body, trying to rest, trying to get in the weight room more than I had been. Get some good lifts in because that's hard to get throughout the year, and really taking advantage of that weekend where you don't have to play a game, letting your body rest, and watching the film, watching the film, get some extra time to watch some film on those guys, and try to get ready for them.
That's great. There's definitely a lot of opportunity to get better in the bye week. Some people may think it's just a relaxing week and take the mental side of it out of it. But I know Coach Wells has you all mentally locked in, like you said, looking at looks against other people, but also to get the opportunity to work on yourself for a week is really nice, and to get to work on the unit and the chemistry and everything that
Yeah.
goes into it. Um, let's kind of talk about just your upbringing. Obviously, you're from Richmond, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Um, give me a highlight. Obviously you played at LCA and Madison Central. Talk to me about kind of growing up in Richmond and what your early days here looked like in the football realm.
Yeah, so I started off playing at the Richmond Little League, Madison County Youth Football League, with Jaden West. He was there, Jeffrey Kinley. We growing up playing against those guys and with those guys. And then middle school, I played over at Cottle, where we were pretty successful there. We had a lot of guys there go D1 and stuff. And then high school, obviously, I played at Madison Central for 3 years. We had a lot of success there, with getting the new coach in my sophomore year, and we really turned things around there. And then my last year, at LCA with playing with Cutter Bowley and some of those guys was a great experience. Going to a new school like that my senior year really helped me just figure out how to work in a new system, things like that, which helped get me ready for Eastern. And then obviously getting to Eastern, it's awesome getting to play in front of your hometown at the highest level here. So definitely a great feeling, especially playing with Jaden and Jeffrey, both of those guys that we all grew up here. It's an awesome feeling getting to go out and play in front of the people you grew up with.
I can imagine it would be. And not only did those three guys, or you three all get to play and grow up together, but how cool is it to see your friend's success in the sense of you have a monster game the other week? You scored a touchdown against Louisville. Look at Jaden West, who's scored and been a starter all year. And then you look at Jeff, who's been making plays for 2 years on the special team and getting snaps in there at defense. But you talk about three guys that grew up in Richmond that you've known for your whole life, and you're all making meaningful impacts in the Division I college level. I mean, that's got to feel good.
Oh, yeah.
Are there any conversations about that, or is it just sit back and feel good about what you guys are doing and giving back to your community?
Oh
Honestly,
yeah, it's definitely a good feeling. I've just sitting back and watching it all happen now, knowing how we were doing this from all the way growing up, and to do it on the biggest stage here in Richmond that we can. It's definitely a good feeling watching those guys make plays and then making plays myself here and there, and it's just really good feeling.
that's super cool. Obviously, I am not from Kentucky. I'm from Ohio, so I know I live in Lexington now. I'm in UK land,
Yeah,
so I've heard a lot about Cutter Bowley. I don't know enough about UK football because I'm all EKU.
yeah.
But you just said that you played college football with Cutter Bowley, or high school football, sorry, and now he's the starting quarterback at UK. What was that season like at LCA? Were you guys very successful? And on top of that, or were you any surprised that he gets a chance to get the nod here as a starting quarterback in Lexington at a young age?
Yeah, definitely no surprise that he's up there getting a shot. I mean, that dude, he's got a cannon for an arm, and he's a great guy. He takes it seriously. I love Cutter, and I'm glad that he's having success up there and getting to start his college career up there. And he's doing good. And then high school, I mean, when I first got up there, first ball I ever caught from him, he about ripped my hands off. So yeah, we had a lot of success offensively in high school, and we were hard to stop. That's for sure. We had a lot of good games, and I'm just really happy for him that he's up there getting some good playing time, playing good football up there.
I would imagine you guys would be pretty good if that's the lineup you got going on. I remember back when you committed, or maybe it was just last year, and we were looking through your stuff. But you had a game. Did you have a 6 touchdown game? Kind of tell me about the success on the field in high school and what was recruiting like for you.
Yeah, definitely. I had a good game last year. My first game was we were playing Bowling Green, which Vito, some of those guys are from there. They weren't there then, but that's where they're from, so up there. So I had a pretty good game against them. But yeah, I played actually with Coach Wells' son,
Oh
KJ.
wow,
Yeah, at Madison Central. So
that's
we
cool.
saw Coach Wells a lot around the football team at the games and stuff like that, and had a pretty good year my sophomore year. Ended up coming to the camp and got an offer there, and then I committed going into my senior year. So good feeling, definitely a good feeling, especially getting to commit to Eastern. I've always wanted to be a colonel, so I was glad I could do it here.
Right. So always wanted to be a colonel from Richmond, Kentucky. Now, obviously we got to dive into the fact that your dad is a Warren Cleat Club member, played on
Yep.
that same field or played for EKU under Roy Kidd. Talk about just that relationship growing up, obviously father-son relationship, but just did he bring you along to games? When did the EKU love start? Did it start right away? And how much of an impact did he make on your decision in the sense of to follow in his footsteps and all of that?
Yeah, so growing up, my dad, he's always taught me about Easter and told me stories, the good old stories about the good old days for him. And he was always my coach growing up. So just being around football, any ball, basketball, baseball, he played it all in high school. So he definitely had a big impact on me in all sports and even in weightlifting and everything, really. But for the football aspect, yeah. He when I wanted to go to Eastern, I had talked to him about it, and he actually told me that he wanted me to make my own decision. He didn't want it to be about him or anything like that, which I thought that was pretty cool. But I definitely wanted to be a colonel, following his footsteps. I think I think he was pretty good. He did all right back when he was playing for Coach Gibb. From what I've heard, he's never told me a whole lot. He's told me some crazy stories about stupid stuff they've done in college, but yeah, and
I'm
stuff
sure. I'm
like
sure
that.
there's
But yeah,
some good ones in there.
oh yeah,
When
definitely.
That's pretty cool. He just didn't didn't influence your decision, but did from just a role model standpoint, which is really
Yeah,
neat. When you look at obviously, I know that he comes to games now, obviously, but I'm
yeah.
sure when you were in Richmond, he came back to games in the Warren Cleat Club and everything. Did that play any impact in your love for EKU and the desire to come here? Because to me, that was one of the coolest things about EKU when I came on my visits back in the day.
Yeah, definitely. Before I was even coming on visits, I was coming to EKU games and just like now I get it as a player, but understanding what it's like to be a fan and then actually play for that team, I think that's really cool. So I get it where all the fans are coming from when they want to see the offense get clicking. I get all of that. So yeah, it's really cool growing up a fan and then getting to actually play for EKU.
Absolutely. It's super neat. What's the meaning? I think you've told me before. What's the meaning behind the jersey number?
Definitely my dad. My dad, he wore it growing up before he was at Eastern anyway. He always wore 42. He told me that was a number that was the only one left they had when he was playing high school football. He was a freshman, so they gave him that one. So I've just always kind of wore it, stuck with it, and yeah, I mean, it's just kind of trying to make it my own thing now, following after him.
Absolutely. It's such a cool I mean, it's a feel-good story, right? Father,
Yeah,
son, hometown hero. I saw that article go out this week. That's super
yeah.
neat and definitely something that you have to be proud of and you should be proud of. Now when we
Thank
go
you.
into, current football uh, standpoint, you come off of a career day against Nichols. Was there anything in particular that sprung that career day, or was it just your time in the sense of you put your head down, you've grinded? Was there any certain schematic differences, or really just was that your day that day?
It's like you were saying, just keeping my head down working. My freshman year, you were there. You were a senior, working hard on special teams and working in the drills. It wasn't my time then, but watching Josh and BB and all those guys last year, I definitely learned a lot. And then even coming into this year, I was still learning. I still try to learn everything I can, practice hard, because if you practice hard, you develop those habits and those turn into game habits. And that's really what I'm still trying to do that way. And our scheme's definitely, Coach Richmond, he's got a good scheme with the zones and stuff. We do a lot of reads and stuff like that. So it helps our linemen get up on those backers. And if we get any of our backs, if we get up to that second level, we're gone. So yeah, it was a good scheme for sure.
Absolutely. The whole running game looked impressive on 2 Saturdays ago. But,
Yeah.
you highlight kind of your freshman year and waiting your turn and different stuff like that. When you came into EKU, I don't know, some people expect a red shirt, some people expect to play right away. And then you have the crowd that, you're too much of a weapon not to have on special teams. How did you take that? Did you love the fact that you didn't redshirt and you played right away? And what you've already highlighted it some, but what did that development on special teams do to your overall game?
Yeah, it definitely just gave me reps in the game. I think that's very valuable, and I see both sides of it. With the red shirt, you get an extra year to grow and stuff like that. But I'll see the side of it. When you're in, you learn. I don't really like staying when you like people say like you sit back and watch. You learn more when you're in the game. So
Agreed.
actually being in the game and understanding the physicality and the speed of the game, you get used to it. And stepping in this year playing, I was still playing a little bit special teams early, and now that I'm at running back and stuff, it's good that I'm already used to the pace of the game.
100%. I'm sure that's important. Obviously, I only ever played special teams, so I don't know what that part's like, but I can imagine that that would be crucial. And just being able to see everything and see, now you're against 22-year-old men,
Yeah.
23-year-old men, maybe 24. I don't know. Pat was 24 last year,
Yeah.
but
Played some old ones.
yeah, not to out Pat on that one, but
Yeah.
but obviously that development was super crucial, and you've already made an impact this season. You also highlighted Josh Carter. We talked about Latham's in that backfield too. He ran
Yeah.
for 88 the other day. He had a huge
Yeah.
game against West Georgia. The running back room, since I've been at EKU, and I've been at EKU since Wells's first year,
Yeah.
they did an incredible job, and Coach Richmond has done an incredible job building that RB room to be super deep.
Yeah.
So how much of an impact did Josh Carter have on you? What did you kind of learn sitting behind him last year in the running back room and just getting to practice with him every day? And then twofold, bring Latham into that and that competition that you all have now and in the offseason, and just how important that depth is at that position.
Yeah, well, depth for one is very important at running back. I mean, running back's a hard position. You know how hard to just play a football game is. To play running back where you're getting hit a lot, that's hard. But from speaking on Josh, he came to practice hard every day. I mean, the dude was always pouring sweat, never said nothing. He always practiced hard and always had a smile on his face. So that was one of the biggest things I took from him. And Latham too. Latham, he's always got the energy at practice. You know it from last year. He's always yelling, running around, smiling. So seeing that from those guys, and then even Jalen Montgomery and
Yeah.
Telly and all those guys, they're all upbeat, uplifting, and they're excited to go out there and practice. And Coach Richmond, he coaches up on everything. I think that's one of the best things about him, even from our steps to where our hand placement is on block and everything. So just putting all that together has definitely helped develop who I am and who the running back room is. And over the years before I was even there with you, always had a solid room, and Braden Sloan, all
Mm-hmm.
those guys. So we've had a lot of good running backs there, and we just got to keep it rolling.
Definitely. It seems to be one after another, and that there's always two.
Yeah,
Even with B. Sloan, we had Josh, and then we also had
yeah,
Keandre, and before that we had Dejon Hewitt, who you may not even know, but we just had a pretty incredible running back room for the past few
hmm
years. Talk about having the offensive coordinator as your position coach, because I talked to Latham about it here on the show maybe 2 weeks ago, and it brings a certain level of accountability, doesn't it?
it does definitely because you're representing him when you're out there, and not just the whole offense is, but you're really representing him because you got to go back in the room and hear what he has to say to you. So he coaches up on everything, and it's good to. I don't know about the other rooms. I can't speak to the other rooms. I'm sure it's similar, but we get every area of coaching. So, like when we make a run and say we get tackled, he's like, "Okay, well, this is what should have happened up front," because he knows the whole scheme, because he's the one who
Mhm.
designed it. It's good to see the offense from all angles, which we really get that from Coach Richmond a lot.
I'm sure. I'm sure to know. I mean, it's like when you sit back in the backfield, obviously you have a lot of trust in the guys in front of you in the O line. But to be a quarterback, they always talk about quarterbacks need to know where everybody is. But to
Yeah,
have multiple positions that know where everyone needs to be, which
yeah,
I'm sure Richmond has you all prepared for, it
oh yeah,
just helps you gel as a unit. So
yeah,
I definitely think that that's an advantage to you all. Talk about like I said, you kind of split two running backs, and
yeah,
West Georgia, Latham had an incredible game, and he had another one 2 weeks ago. But
yeah.
you ball out against Louisville, you ball out against Nichols. You guys take your turns, you split your reps. What kind of benefit does that give you in terms of attrition during the season, during the game, and just first speak on that?
Yeah, it's definitely, pushing one another. If Latham gets a big run, somebody else, we got to go out and get a big run too. We got to keep it going off everybody. And it's good to see the success in our room, having that success up front and where they're getting holes, they're creating holes for us, and we're having big games. And it's good when it shows you that it's not just the running backs that are just having good games. If the O line, they got to create those holes, and the quarterbacks, they got to help the reads, and it all works together. So it's not just the running backs who are having good games. That's just showing off because everyone else is doing their job.
Is there any intentional difference in running style, like knowing that you're going in for for a certain situation versus Latham, or is it more so just a collective running style where, Latham may be subbed out right now, but he's on the sideline telling you like, hey, this is open. If you get in there, do this,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. We after every series we always come off and we can actually use the iPads now. So we'll sit over there and just
Yeah.
watch the iPads and like, okay, we need to make this cut. So when I go and he's like, hey, make sure you're looking for the cutback or the bounce or whatever it is. We're always trying to help each other. And I think when, either BB gets him, me, Mont, he should be coming back pretty soon. Hopefully we get him back soon at full health. And we all have a little bit different running styles. So when you get in, it's good that you got that 1, 2, 3 punch. That the defense can't just sit on and be ready for one thing. They got to be ready for all three different things.
Absolutely. And Mont's shown that he can be a spark plug in any
Definitely.
form of the game. You and Latham have shown you guys can dominate out there on the field. It definitely once again brings back to being a loaded running back room.
Hmm.
Just another question on the room, and I'm highlighting the room because you guys have been the bright spot of the offense this year. I talked to Latham about it. I like to get your perspective too. Where does the insane camaraderie come from amongst you guys and you all being together for every interview and showing up to everything for each other? Where does that come from, and how special is that bond?
I think it's just liking one another. We spend, you know how it is when you're on a team. You spend a lot of time with your position group. So we all spend, all summer doing drills together, and we all get where each other are coming from, is what I think. So that's bonded us in that, and just everything we're doing out there on the field is together. We're all doing the same thing. We're all in it for the same goal, and we all want the best for each other. I think that has taken us a long way. So, we do stuff off the field together, all kinds of stuff. We'll go eat or just mess with one another, doing whatever. So we all like each other. We all want to see each other be successful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When you get into the bye week, and we kind of talked about it, but obviously we mentioned it as well earlier. The offense has had some struggles early and then shown it evolve over the first beginning few weeks. And I think Nichols was a big step forward for the offense as a whole. Um, what was kind of the message coming out of Nichols? Was there any certain message with the offense, or was it just business as usual, or what kind of was the plan in the bye week for just you all specifically?
Yeah, it's just keep building, keep growing. That's been our thing all year. Just continue to take the next step. We can have a good game, but it means nothing if we come back this week and don't do anything, get anything done. So I feel like Nichols was definitely the first time we had hit a good rhythm in all three phases, of the game, offensively, defensively, and special teams. Defense has always been there, and then special teams they've been doing pretty good. So we were the ones who had to pick it up, and we finally did, and it worked. It worked in our favor. The defense, they were setting us up good. We were converting off of the special teams would go do their thing. They would set the defense up, and it was just kind of a continuous thing. So we got to keep that going against Austin Peay. They're a very good team, so we're gonna need it.
No doubt. So the offense is always interesting. I remember, we'd go back into fall camp scrimmages or spring scrimmages, and the defense, even if the defense wasn't better than the offense that year in the sense of like it was a balanced attack, or the defense was
Yeah,
having an incredible year, the offense was. Defense is usually a step ahead of the offense just in terms of those early on scrimmages and through the offseason. And I always attributed that to the importance of every man working together on the offense and how
yeah.
important that is to the play. Talk about, has there been an emphasis, in the offseason with a lot of new faces and different things like that on just repetition? And then talk
Oh,
about, you can give a shout out to your guys up front who,
oh
there have
yeah.
been people mixing in and out, but just how important that continuity is as a group and evolving throughout the season.
Yeah, a ton of reps, like you were saying. It takes a lot of reps, especially when you got new guys. We had a new quarterback coming in, and a lot of the young guys were stepping up and learning the new system, finding their role in the system. And offense is really just a rhythm. You got to find that rhythm because like you got to get used to it as a quarterback, even just on the littlest thing, a slant route. Got to catch the snap. He's got to take his 2 or 3 steps. Got to be right there in stride. So even little plays like that, it's all a rhythm. And once you finally get that rhythm, which I felt like we were getting last game, we got to keep that going. But little plays like that. That's how you get big plays. So little plays. Coach has been talking on us big on that this week. Is just take the little plays and keep making the little plays, and they'll turn into big plays.
Right, man. And coach talk may get, it may drag on because the message seems to always be consistency. And I'm talking about just
Yes.
coaching at every level, high school, college, wherever you may be. I've heard many coaches over the year preach consistency, but I
Yeah,
think when you're in it like you are right now, you can see that consistency come to fruition of just showing up every day and building that chemistry with your teammates. And I
yeah,
think that that's why we've seen so many steps forward out of the offense, from game one where you play an
yeah,
FBS opponent, a really impressive opponent on the road.
yeah.
Um, this is just my own curiosity. You get 14 carries. I think that's a career high. Is that a career high?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For
14.
Eastern, yeah.
Yeah, 14 carry. Yes, at Eastern. Is it a noticeable difference from previous games when you wake up the next morning?
Oh, not really, you know. I mean,
Okay.
I was used to in high school getting like they would feed me the ball like 30, 40 times. So now it really ain't that bad. And you know, if you're finishing your runs hard and falling for it, it ain't too bad on you. You know, I would kind of get beat up worse on special teams. You know how special teams is? It's a helter skelter out there. So you could run and catch a knee to the thigh, anything like. I
Yeah,
used to jam my thumbs all the time on that double team block. So my thumbs have been feeling good this year. Glad my thumbs have been feeling good. But yeah, I ain't too beat up.
that's great. That's good. When it comes to special teams in general, are you still have you kind of cut back reps on special teams? Are you still repping special teams? And what special teams are you on?
Yeah, so they cut my reps back, but I'm still at every meeting. I'm still there if he needs me. You know, I'm on the hands team and the onside kick
Hey,
team. So ready for that
uh-oh,
hands
that's
team. Is
fun.
a little shaky there. You know, that one's a little scary, but you know, I'm ready to go if he ever needs me. I know it all.
That's
So
awesome. It's hands is the most fun drill on a
oh
Friday.
yeah, you know about that one. Friday, it can be rough
Yes.
sometimes. Some of those people. Whew.
Yes, no doubt it can be. Now I just kind of having fun with it and diving into, you're from Richmond, you've grown up in Richmond, and now you're at EKU. What is your go-to spot in Richmond? If you're going to eat or maybe just to hang out with friends.
To eat. I like Sonic a lot and Canes. I try to get my girlfriend to go to Canes, and I'm sure she gets tired of it. But I really like Canes and hang out. I don't really. I spend a lot of time at home. I cannot lie. I spend a lot of time either. But I don't get a whole lot of free time. So when I'm free, I'm usually spending it here watching a movie or just hanging out.
Well, how about Cane's is obviously a chain. Give me what's the best local joint?
Oh man,
You're on the spot on it.
you know we eat a lot of Jacksons over at Eastern. That's pretty good.
It's a good
I like
spot.
Jacksons a lot, and man. This one's not really local, but I like it a lot. Waffle House. I go to Waffle House all the time.
That's a good
All
spot
I
too.
used to
That's
I
a
used to go more. I've cut back on it recently, but I used to go. I'll go any time during the day, lunch, dinner, breakfast. It don't matter to me.
Yeah, we that's why the specialists never looked like they lost any weight during fourth quarter drills, is because we went to Waffle House after every
Yeah,
single one.
it don't help.
No doubt. Let's talk about, just your degree at Eastern right now. What are you studying and what are your goals for after college?
So I'm studying special education right now. Both my parents did it. My mom, she's done it for a lot longer than my dad. He did it for a little while, and then he switched over to physical education in that area. So my mom, she did it, so I just kind of am following in her footsteps on that. She knows a lot about it. I've been around a lot of her students, and that, so I like those students. I think they're good people, and just trying to help them grow, and doing what she does. It's a hard job, but I think I'm ready for it.
It definitely is a hard job, and there's a lot of respect. I have a lot of respect for that career path. It
Appreciate it.
takes a
Yeah,
special person in terms of just
definitely.
caring individuals.
Yeah.
Um, you are a studious guy. I know that we had a previous conflict in after week one in the show with a
Oh
Spanish
yeah.
project. How did everything turn out with the Spanish project?
Good. I don't know if this will get me in trouble or not, but shout out my mom. My mom's been doing good. She's been really, really helping me in that. So
Teaching
yeah.
you, tutoring you. I got you.
Yeah,
Um,
that and Google Translate, that's taken me a long way. And my dad, he's actually helped me a little bit. So
nice.
he's been on
Okay,
that grind a little bit with me. So it's
there
it's a
we
team
go.
effort. It's a team effort in the Spanish class.
Absolutely. I get it. I get it. Last question for you as you're looking forward to Austin P. Is there anything that, I know we're Wednesday, so we have a couple more days of prep, but what's the focus been? And is there anything that you're seeing on film of just in general as a team that the public would know that their tendencies are and who is that defense over there?
Yeah, so they're a lot like West Georgia, really. They move around a lot. They're four down, three down, a little bit. They'll blitz situationally, but just keep building. I think if we can get the run game going and stuff like that, it's going to open up the pass game. And once you see get the pass game going, everything should start clicking for us. So just taking it slow, building off what we had last week, and seeing where it takes us.
That's exciting. I'm looking forward to this weekend. I'm hoping it's a big crowd. I know that
It
Coach
should
Wells has
be.
been
It
in the
should be.
media. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
know
think
Coach
UK.
Wells
I
has
don't
been
think UK's playing this week, so that might help
exactly.
us to get a few more locals. Yep,
Exactly. It needs to be a big crowd. It's a big
definitely.
game, but no game bigger than the next one, right? So that's what's
Yep,
on your guys' mind right now.
exactly.
And I really appreciate you taking the time after a big week against Nichols and the bye week to come on this show and talk to me for a little bit.
Yes,
And
sir.
I'm excited to see what happens the rest of the season for you. I think it's going to be a big year.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Duff, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That is EKU running back Brady Hensley. Super grateful to have him on. Just a great guy and a young guy who is succeeding in his role incredibly. And so I am very excited. As I mentioned multiple times, this running back room is stacked, and they have been the spark plugs of the offense, as well as like their predecessor and Josh Carter a year ago. He led EKU on a run coming out of the bye week. He led our team on a run out of the bye week with 3 straight game-winning touchdowns. And I feel like this team is very stacked and will have the ability to do the same exact thing. So now I get to bring on one of my close friends. I am very excited to bring on Jacob Baker. He's a captain of this EKU football team. He is the starting punter, has been for 2 years, coming off a first-team all-conference season last year, having a great season this year. So without further ado, Captain Jacob Baker.
What's going on, everybody?
Baker, how are
What's
you,
up,
man?
Duff? I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good. Where are you right now?
I just got out of a men's Bible study, so I'm out here. Not very good internet inside, so I'm out here in the parking lot trying to get some light.
That's awesome. Well, I do appreciate you taking the time to come meet with me and talk to me and do this show this week. Um, I've definitely been I've definitely been playing favorites the past 2 weeks, and even in the first week, I've had 4 specialists on, so I'm super glad that we could work this out. But coming off a bye week right now, the kicking leg is incredibly important, and it can wear down a lot easier than people know. How are you feeling right now coming off a bye?
I feel pretty good. I think having those couple of days to kind of just reset and let your body get back to where it needs to be really helped me out a lot. And just just having those few days off from kicking really helped me just get back where I need to be leg wise. But I feel great. I'm excited for this week. The opportunity that's presented in front of us, and I'm just ready to go. So.
Absolutely. When people don't understand, when you look at specialists, obviously you do not have the same job as going and lining up in the trenches with the O line or taking hits like a running back, but you do the same motion repetitively every day, many times every game. What goes into the maintenance every week of just staying, fresh with your right leg and keeping that healthy? How much just extra prep goes into it, and what do you have to do?
Yeah, I'd say really prioritizing stretching, and also making sure that you're getting the training room, get what you need to get done. But just really focusing on like what you got to get done that week, and just really managing how much you do, because you can't do too much in one day because you have 5 days of prep, and then you got Saturday. So I think really just being smart, and just making sure you're getting better at the same time. Just really taking care of your body. I think that's huge.
Absolutely. And, you know, I say that you're not taking the same hits, but you are a guy who's put their face in the fan multiple times. I mean, your first ever game, your first ever punt, you made your first career tackle. You've had several tackles since then. You're not afraid to get in there and hit. Kind of tell me, you know, the background of your when you started playing football and how you evolved to become a kicker and punter and how you got into that.
Yeah, so I'd say obviously me making tackles in the game is not what you want, especially from my point of view. But I'd say just transitioning from in high school, I played different positions. I played defense, but also kicked. I think transitioning from playing defense over to kicking, I love hitting. I have a urge or a joy of just like contact. I don't know what it is, uh, but I definitely I wanted to kick. I knew I wanted to kick in college. That's my lifelong dream. So just being able to pursue it and be able to do it and just go out there and just be blessed with the opportunities I've been blessed with. I can't ask anything more for it. So.
No doubt. And you come out of or high school as a kicker punter. You know, a lot of people like to go that dual route, and you definitely had a ton of success at Corbin with that route. Did you know when you were going through the process in high school that you leaned more towards punting, or was the idea, you know, we'll see whenever I have to make the decision, or what was kind of the mindset when it came to doing both or doing one?
Yeah, so I'll say in high school, I never really favored one way. Um, we scored a lot, so I didn't punt a whole lot. I probably punted maybe 5 or 6 times all 4 years of high school, so I did a lot of kicking.
Oh, wow.
But I always practice punting to have that in my just to have that with me. So when it came to recruiting and people like scouts looking at me, I knew that me having both sides of it, it's going to really help me get recruited. But yeah, I didn't really favor one side. That I got here and I told myself I'll do whatever you want me to do to, for me to play like I want to play, and I'll do whatever it takes. So I mean, if you want me to do this, I'll do that, or whatever it takes for me to get on the field. So I really embraced punting, and that's where they needed me the most, and I just do whatever I can to help my team, put them in the best spots possible every week. So.
Absolutely. What is the biggest adjustment? I mean, was there any mechanic adjustments or anything like that when it comes to punting 5 times in your entire high school career than becoming a full-time punter?
Yeah, it definitely was it was an adjustment, but that's part of the game. You just got to practice it. I'd say just kicking, it's a lot of cross body stuff, and punting is more straight up and down. So really, just fighting off those kind of things I did from kicking for so long, and where I punt full time, like I'm a punter now. Just being able to dial in and make sure I need to be where I'm at position wise and make the best contact with the ball, and just making sure I'm in the right spot, and just making sure I hit the best ball I can every single time to put them in the best spot. So yeah, I mean it was a little bit of a transition, not crazy, something you can't do. Just took a lot of practice, and just prioritizing things you need to get done. So that was probably the biggest thing.
I'm sure, you know, we're gonna stay in Corbin for this discussion here, because before I move on past the high school days and everything like that, I have to highlight Corbin because it's home of, you know, it's where the legendary Coach Roy Kidd is from. You know, this is the same man that's in the Football Hall of Fame, College Football Hall of Fame. EKU has a statue built of him. The stadium is named after him, and the street outside the stadium. What's the sense of pride coming from Corbin, knowing that Roy Kidd's from Corbin, and also just how much did you hear about him growing up, and how cool is it now to play in Roy Kidd Stadium?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I didn't get to meet Roy Kidd before he passed away, but I know he was a legend of a coach, and he really took pride in what he did. I'd say growing up in Corbin, I'm a small town kid. Corbin's my home and always will be. Holds a very special place in my heart. They've been so good to my family and myself, and just everybody in my community. But Corbin, it's special because it's football, 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 football. You eat, breathe, and sleep. So, it's always every Friday night. It was always packed out. And just being able to have the opportunity to go out there with players I played with and grew up with since I was a little bitty kid, playing little TCSA football. It really means a lot. Just be able to see and grow up with them, and just play those last 4 years of high school with them. Thank you. It really it meant a lot. And it you hate to see it go and not being home. It's awesome. But I remember the first week of college I actually got up here. I'm a big homebody, and I remember being in my dorm, and I'm on my phone with my dad. I was like, Dad, I miss home. He's like, Dude, you ain't been there but 2 days. I'm like, No, it's just there's something about that place that it's very special to me. Just growing up, and I heard about Roy Kidd all growing up, and just everything he did. He's from Corbin and everything, and it's awesome. And just the tradition, and how much people care about Corbin football, and just that place in general. That town's very special. So I love it with all my heart, and I always will. So.
Yeah, obviously, you talk about the tie of two towns that love football, Richmond and Corbin, but you also talk about Coach Kidd. But on top of that, you get to come and go be a Colonel and play at EKU alongside some of your former teammates in high school. Let's see, Brody Wells, Mikey Neal, Travion Longmire was on EKU's team for a little bit with you. How cool is that to go from – I just talked to Brady about this with LCA and Madison Central. How cool is that to be able to go on and play at the next level at a Division I college with the kids you grew up with?
Yeah, it's a dream because a lot of people don't take a lot of kids don't get the opportunity to do what we do at this level, and being able to do with people that I care about and that I grew up playing football with, and that people that mean a lot to me. Just be able to go out there and play, be out there with them every day, see them every day, just play the game of football, man. It's just you can't beat it. And I just thank the Lord for putting me where I am today in the spot I'm in, and just blessing me with all the things around me, because I wouldn't be here without Him and my family. So yeah, it's awesome. I love every bit, I love every part of it.
That's great. When, we talk about you coming to EKU, we talk about your upbringing, everything like that, and we highlighted the fact that, there's different adjustments. But I also mentioned that you got thrown in the fire there your freshman year into a monsoon game where Jeremy got hurt for a play and you had to go in the game. Talk to me through that play, because I think that will be one that you always remember. It's your first snap, and what a crazy situation to go in stone cold in.
Yeah, so it was actually funny because I'll never forget. I'm over there by the kicking net, and I'm watching Jeremy punt, but he gets hurt. They throw a flag. All I hear is my name. They're like, Baker. I was like, here we go, and this is my chance. But yeah, I didn't kick a ball since warm ups. I didn't kick, and it was pouring the rain, and I was like, you know what? Let's just go out there and just kick. Whatever happens, happens. It was definitely a welcome to college football moment for me. Just going out there for my first ever punt and my first ever tackle in college football.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was awesome because it really put in perspective on where I'm at, and just the game of college football, and just being in that moment was so surreal, because that's something I always dreamed of being in, and just really being there in that moment was awesome for me, and just really getting to experience it.
It's super important to get that first experience under your belt. I talked to Brady, about game speed and different stuff like that. And I think with specialists, you only improve with the more repetition you get and the more looks that you get. I know that you know that from your experience as well. I want to highlight kind of the weather for a second, just because that's something that's talked about a lot with punters and kickers and specialists. When you go into a raining game like that, or I'm sure like yesterday's practice was, is there any difference to technique or approach? Or obviously, the ball is going to be soaking wet and there's going to be different issues with that. But between wind and rain, what kind of differences does that make on you as a punter?
Can you hear me? Sorry.
I can't hear you. Did you hear the question, or you need me to repeat it?
Oh, I think I can hear you. Maybe.
No problem. You get a phone call?
I don't know if I can hear you.
Oh no. How is it now? Here we go. I will add him back here in a moment. But everyone's on their phone, so sometimes there will be technical difficulties. Everyone bared with me with my Wi-Fi problems there, and maybe it was week 4 or week 5. But while we're waiting for Baker to come back here, I'm going to go ahead and dive into more of Austin Peay versus EKU. Like I said, Austin Peay's been impressive. Playing big games. Oh, and Baker's back, so maybe I'll dive into that here in a moment. Here is Jacob Baker. Jacob, can you hear me?
Sorry about that. My dad gave me a call and it kind of messed up my audio.
No problem at all. You know that I probably need to give more heads up to people because you can't really avoid it on your phone. But there have been 3 different people now that have gotten phone calls during this show, and so the same kind of reaction happens. But I understand that. But the question was, beforehand was, what kind of effects does weather play, and how does that change your game plan when you approach a practice or a game and there's different weather, inclement weather?
Yeah, weather definitely does play a big part, especially in playing in the kicking game, because there's so many things you got to take in consideration: wind, the amount of rain, just really making sure because the ball's super wet, and tends to get really heavy. So from a punting aspect, I say really just it don't change the game plan, but mentally, just preparation, just going out there and just knowing that you prepare for this all week. Just repetition. We do a lot of wet ball drills, so it really gets you ready for the game if you have a wet football. But yeah, I'd say really just preparation and just really preparing for yourself to go out there and make sure you catch the ball first, and just trust your fundamentals and all your techniques and everything you've practiced all week for, and just go out there and get the job done. Other than that, it don't change a lot of the game plan. Just you got to go out there and execute. So.
Yeah. When you get your first game under your belt in that monsoon game, and then you play a whole year last year, and I know that you learn a lot in that full year of playing. There's a lot of different looks that you hadn't seen before, and you get to see it. But you handled it you just handled it in an impressive way. You become first team all conference, and this year coming into this season, you're punter of the year watch list. What did you take away from last season? What did you aim to grow on this offseason? Was it just consistency? And on top of that, talk about the opportunity to get to go work with Novak, which I'm not sure a lot of people, know, and talk about, just that unique experience and what that did for you.
So yeah, really having that first game my redshirt freshman year, and then my freshman year, and then coming back last year and playing a whole season. Last year was really a season for me to, I started off rough. I had a rough first game, but at that I was, it wasn't my best game ever, but I knew that you can only go up from there. And I really just took every week to grow in some aspect of the game, mentally, physically. Every week practicing something that maybe I don't practice enough, and just biggest thing is being consistent. In college, you got to be consistent if you want to be a winner, if you want to be successful. So, and get to the next level. So I'd say last year was a huge year for me. It was a decent year. But yeah, I have definitely a lot more goals I want to achieve. But building off of last year, I'd say just being consistent, and just taking this year, soaking up every moment I get, taking advantage of the opportunities that I'm provided with, and just making the most out of it. And just make sure each week I'm better myself in some way to make sure I help my team and, just get the job done and do what I'm capable of. So, and speaking on Novak, Nick Novak, he played for the Chargers a long time ago, but he's a Chargers legend. And I was blessed with the opportunity to go out there this past spring and train with him. And A.J. Cole, the Raiders punter, was down there. And we also had a UFL snapper that played in the league for a little bit. And just, when I went out there, it was kind of crazy because it was like a Corbin, Kentucky boy out in San Diego, California by himself. Like, I didn't know like what to do because I'm just not used to like environments like that. And but it was surreal, man. I mean, I plan on going back out there this winter and the spring. But yeah, man, it was awesome just being able to be with those guys that know what it takes to get to the next level, and that's my goal, is to get to the next level. And just being able to get information from them and how they go about their game and how they carry themselves and how they take each day and like the mental part of the game. And just it's crazy that sometimes we tend to overanalyze stuff, and then just talking to those guys, they think the same way we do. And it's just really about don't make things bigger than what it is when it comes to game time and stuff, because it's just another game. But just really soaking up every opportunity, and that's one thing I learned from Novak and AJ Cole. Like, I talked to them a little bit, and they're just like, what you can do, and nobody else may not know what you can do, but it's every chance you get is an opportunity you get to go show what you can do. And just being able to go out there and make the best of every opportunity, and just being a sponge was the biggest thing for me. Just soaking up every information I could possibly get from those guys, because they're professionals. They know what they're doing. So that was a surreal week for me. Just being able to meet those guys, and just being a sponge and learning everything I can possibly get before I came back.
You've had some incredible experiences getting to work with Nick Novak, AJ Cole, and also Jordan Berry, former professional punter for the Steelers and the Vikings, and EKU punter. It's super cool. I've been there to see you work with him, and there's so many details that go into it. You talk about simplifying it and seizing the opportunity, but also talk about how being a specialist is a game of inches, in the sense of a drop 1 inch left can go into the stands, and talk about how particular and precise everything has to be in your form.
Yeah, absolutely. The game of punting it's a game of inches, and you have to be so precise, and make sure you're perfect or near perfect every single time you kick the ball. Because if you're off by a quarter of an inch in or out, or your drop's not where it's supposed to be, or you're not making contact, or you're not, your body's not in the right position, you're not going to have what you want. And just being able to like work with those guys, especially Jordan too. He's a legend. He played for the Vikings, and what he's done. So just really making sure every punt, I'm precise, and I'm really focusing on the little things and the details, because that's going to create the big things for me, the big opportunities. So I know just making every opportunity I get, just each week focusing on the little things, and making sure my form's good, I'm precise, my drops were supposed to be, my ball contact, my hips, my shoulders, just making sure I do what I have to do. Every opportunity I get to capitalize, and just go out there and do what I can do. So
No doubt. When the past couple years, let's see, you're in your third year right now, which is kind of crazy to believe, because just because I was in my fourth when you came in. But you got to play early in your career, and last year you obviously had a 6-year senior and a 5th-year senior in your room with Pat and myself.
yeah,
You kind of had to be forced to take the reins, and that was something I know that you were prepared for, and that you were the best person to take over the reins, and have done a great job as like a captain and a leader in the room. But on top of that, just talk about kind of the gradual transition to that role, and what all that's brought on for you, and just, the honor to be named a team captain by your
yeah.
teammates.
Yeah, so last year I was with you and Pat, and that was an honor, because I know you guys worked you guys worked your tails off every day, and that's what I wanted to be like that. And I knew that in order for me to get to where I want to be, I have to work every day and take advantage of every chance I get, and every day just getting better. And I'd say this year, where I was honored to be the team captain. It's always something I've always been dreamed of being, and just being able to be in that role, and being the position group leader, it means a lot. And just making sure I bring everybody with me, and helping all the young guys out, all the young punters and kickers, and just really making sure that also while I'm getting better, I'm helping them get better too. Um, and just making sure I really lead them and do my best. I do my best every week to lead them and just put them in the right direction to be successful, and help them do things that I do every week or every day to get better at, and just let them practice with, because I want them to practice with me just so they know what they can do to get better, and just really learn from them too, because they punt different ways too. So just learning different. I'm an open mind when it comes to learning different things. So really taking all the information I am in, and being that leader and making sure I lead them every week, and really help them get better every week, and just hold each other accountable is probably the biggest thing.
And I know you're doing a great job of that. When you look at the punt team moving forward, obviously you hit a reset in the bye week. What is it that you all are working on as a unit, and what do you want to see more of, as you go down through the second half of second stretch of the year?
Yeah, so I'd say right now, nobody in the country's really seen what we can do and what we're capable of. And that, in my opinion, there's no other special teams punt unit out there better than us. I'm not just because I just think it's the truth. I love the guys on that unit. I love them with all my heart, and I'll do everything I can to protect them, and you know, put them in the best spot. And we really take pride in that. Coach Day does a great job of getting us ready and just giving us opportunities and putting us in opportunities for us to go make plays. And it's also on us to go out there and execute them too. But I think we have a really special group. I've been a part of a lot of position groups, and just especially in like these past 2 years of college, just being in those rooms with you and Duff and Jeremy, and there's a lot of talent. With you being gone, we have a new snapper, Blake Howard, but he's really stepped up in a huge way, and just really, me and him have a good connection, good bond, and just really working each other every day. And nobody's really seen what we can do yet, but I think they'll find out come this part of the season, and I'm excited to see what happens. So.
Me as well. And Blake's done an incredible job for you as a snapper and covering down the field. He's been awesome this year. When you look at, my last question and I'll let you go and get out of that parking lot. But my last question is, when you're going through a week of prep like this and you're looking at Austin Peay, what are you looking for on the film, and what do you expect out of their return team this coming week?
Yeah, so they have a good returner. I'd say the biggest thing is just making sure that I go out there and I execute. I'll go watch film. I double check and I make sure. I like to watch where the returner tends to line up and his tendencies, and usually I also go on there and just see what he's weak in. But yeah, I do. Going out there this week and making sure that I do the best I can, and make sure I put my guys in the best spot possible to make a play. And every week we have a goal of 0 returns, fair catches, and just really great ball placement. And I think this week we've done a great job preparing for this game Saturday. And I'm excited to see what we can do. And I'm pumped up and ready to go.
Well, I'm excited to see what you do here on this back half of the 2025-26 season. You've had a great year so far. You're coming off of an incredible year the year before. I think it's only up from here for you. And I really appreciate you taking the time to be on this show tonight. And I hope you get some rest and go flush the pee this weekend, as they say.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm grateful to have friends like you, and just being able to get on here with you and have the opportunity to talk to you, and because you've done so much for me, and just having that kind of person in your corner just to be able to talk to any day, and just come on here on this this live video and this show, and just have an opportunity to talk to people and talk to you. It's a blessing, and I'm just thankful for it.
No doubt about it. And that's very nice of you. And once again, I just appreciate everything, and I'm looking forward to watching you ball out the rest of the year.
Sir, I appreciate having me on.
Absolutely. Awesome. That is junior, or I think he's listed as a sophomore, but third-year punter, Jacob Baker, he's having an incredible season, as we mentioned, and also coming off an incredible year as well with a lot of hype coming into this year. His leg's been active this year, so let's hope that dies down a little bit and that we get Buzz more active in the PAT game moving forward. But it's always a pleasure to get to talk to Baker and Brady as well. Two great guests tonight. As I'm closing up, I kind of wrote down some notes. I will give a shout out. Austin Peay does have a former colonel on their team, Clayton Thomas, who came in my recruiting class in 2020 here at EKU. He was a linebacker at EKU. He is now a long snapper at Austin Peay. So that's a pretty cool connection there. I'm looking forward to seeing Clayton on Saturday. But with that said, it's always flush the P, and I do not like Austin Peay, and I get to say that here in the media now because I am not going to be there on Saturday for them to target me. But also, in all seriousness, this is a huge game this weekend, and I kind of wrote down as I was kind of diving into everything, the past two games against Austin Peay have been overtime games. And the game before that was decided by 11. The game before that was decided by 6. So, you can expect a dogfight anytime you play Austin Peay, especially when you're playing a ranked opponent like this. I kind of wrote down some keys to the game here this weekend, and I think, Austin Peay showed that they can give up some points in various games, but they also showed that they can score points with anyone, as they scored, I believe it was 45 last week. So I think the keys to this game is just, special teams showing up and controlling the field, flipping the field is going to be huge because and controlling possession time on offense. I think you're going to have to play a field battle this week against this sound football team, and the defense is going to have to do what they do. Obviously, I say the field battle and controlling possession because you don't want to keep putting defense in tough spots like they have been at various times this year. But I really am manifesting and believing that this is the week the EKU offense gets fully on track. We see all cylinders clicking, the weapons on the outside at receiver, the quarterback, the running backs, and the offensive line, the tight ends. I think everyone gets it gelling this week. Another key is just win the turnover battle and limit explosives. I mean, they talk about that all the time, but if you take care of those things, like I said, and play sound football, a complete team game this weekend, we come out victorious. And I would love to see some wrinkles in the offense. There's a lot of weapons there. TJ Mitchell can get loose, and he is hard to bring down. You got Cam Herget, former quarterback, playing receiver and one of the fastest guys on every field. You got a lot of weapons in that backfield with Latham and you got Latham and Brady Hensley. You got Coweyes on the outside. Even Miles has shown that he can run. So there's a lot of fun weapons to play with. I would love to see us coming off this bye week with some wrinkles, catching Austin Peay off guard and using those wrinkles to win the explosive play battle. So with that said, you look forward to an all UAC finish to the season. Right now we are ranked in 5th. You got Tarleton at 1, Abilene 2, Austin Peay, West Georgia, EKU, UCA, UNA, Utah Tech, and then at the very bottom of the standings right now, Southern Utah is listed. Fun fact about Southern Utah is they have the second most points behind Tarleton in the conference. They have played. You want to talk about high-scoring games? They have played some high-scoring games. But with that said, flush the P this weekend. I'm looking forward to seeing those Colonels take on the field, seeing a big home crowd packed out at Roy Kidd Stadium. And I am, as always, super appreciative of my guests for taking the time to come on tonight. And also just take a look at John Clark State Farm in Richmond, Kentucky. Newer State Farm agency. You can always count on Clark. Incredible guy, incredible football player, football coach in his career. But more importantly, like I said, incredible person that you can count on with all of your needs when it comes to customer service and insurance. So with that said, thank you again for tuning in. And I'm looking forward to talking to you guys next week with a loaded show getting announced here in a few days. Everyone have a good one. Flush the P. Go Colonels.